Right then, this is a quick walk around video. This is for a Honda Civic. It's a 1.6 diesel SE Plus Tourer. 2015 car, one of the facelift models that came out in this year. The car's covered just coming up to 66,000 miles now. Finishing this really lovely grey metallic. The car is in absolutely beautiful condition. Really handsome estates, these. Tourers, as Honda would like you to call them. You can see new style front end, very sought after on these. Looks really good. It's one of their best updates. Lights and lenses clear and intact. There's no cracks or condensation there. Bonnet, I can't see a stench of any noise on there at all. Then near side, beautifully smooth in the panels. It's got such a crisp look to this car. We've wiped it off. It's not been polished, and yet it looks absolutely fantastic. Near side front alloy, really clean. Work pretty much unblemished. Near side rear alloy, generally very good there. Just a bit of aging on it, but nothing way better than it should be for its age. And then I think it's by a country mile the best looking estate out there. Come around the back, again very clean indeed. There's the offside, driver's side, and beautifully smooth down the panel work. The rear alloy, again in very good condition for the age, and then the panels are really nice. And final alloy, again really good. It's in absolutely fantastic condition. There's going to be a blemish somewhere, but you're going to have to look very hard to find one. It's coming to the back of the car, absolutely enormous boot, and nice to see this one's been fitted with a Honda load liner. Obviously protects the carpeted areas underneath. It's coming to the back of the car now. All very clean back here. This is where kids normally sit, and they can be quite heavily used just by use as much as anything else, but so this one's been kept really nicely. Come to the front of the passenger side, again all very clean and tidy. Passenger seat there, again in really nice condition. Finally come to the front, driver's door card really clean, and same to the footwell areas, driver's seat as well, so it looks mottled under the trees here. Let's come inside the car now. As always, I have the engine running, so the dash is illuminated. It's an absolutely stunning interior in these Civics. Radio and information screen working exactly as it should. DAB radio and hands-free Bluetooth equipped in the car. Pop the car into reverse, you've got that lovely big clear reverse parking camera which complements the front and rear parking sensors. Carrying on down, it's just been kept absolutely beautifully. And that is a view you get as a Civic driver. It is the best dash pinnacle by a country mile in my humble opinion. Engine running, no warning lights on, 65,903 miles. Hopefully you can just see that just up there. There you go. By the way, the airbag lights stay on, the little orange one, just as a pre-check on about a minute on all Hondas, so there's no issues. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock me on that key, all here present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.6 SE Plus Tourer. The car's registered DG65HNX, and mileage at the start of the road test is 65,903 miles. The reason we do all our videos, and actually especially this section, the road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see that very car actually in operation. Unfortunately, like many people, we've been to go and see cars and they've looked perfectly good in photographs or a description, but only to get there and find out it's actually got an obvious fault that shows up as soon as you drive the car. And if you've driven any kind of distance, that can be enormously frustrating. We also do it on these very quiet country roads, this beautiful part of Gloucestershire, and this actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and the hope is it'll be representative of what you feel yourself if you went on driving the car. So coming to the car, it's been very well looked after, it's in lovely condition, and driving it doesn't disappoint in any way. Twist the key, engine starts immediately and settles to a completely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car actually. And temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. The The engine is a brilliant diesel engine in every single way. Honda are masters of engine building. It's got all the Honda traits of being very tough and reliable over huge mileages, with good regular maintenance. They're also cam chain driven, so there's no cam belts to worry about them either. People buy diesels ultimately for economy, let's be brutally honest with you. And again, it's one of these engines that the economy actually comes pretty easily to it. I've owned numerous Hondas using the 1.6 diesel, and in the Civics, I've always, because my driving actually isn't conducive to getting particularly good economy because it tends to be shorter trips, but I'm still kind of high 50s, 60 to the gallon on longer trips, up to 70 and above. So it's a very impressive unit. Engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox. Clutch on the car, light, positive, smooth. Bike point is exactly where it's meant to be on the car as well. Pardon me. And then you come to another brilliant Honda gearbox. Even though, like pretty much all modern front-wheel drive cars, the gear lever is actually joined to the gearbox by cables. Unfortunately, that means with some of its competitors, you end up with kind of a light, lifeless, vague, gear shift that you kind of use, but get very little tactile enjoyment out of doing it. This is just lovely. It's got a meaty weight to the gear shift. You can feel the gears engage. It's just a satisfying, short in throw, precise in the gate, and it's the selection. It's just absolutely superb, really is. It also feels exactly as it would have done when it was new. They just don't seem to wear these gearboxes. Then coming on to what I've always maintained is the best part of any Civic of this generation, and that's the chassis and the steering. Predominantly, this is a car that is a family car to get you and your family and your luggage from A to B as comfortably as possible, and it does a brilliant job of it. The ride is beautifully judged, damping's fantastic, it's very smooth and comfortable. Only the harshest, sharpest ridges will ever catch it out, as it would any car, but generally it's a lovely place to sit. The steering is really nicely weighted. Incidentally, it tracks absolutely dead straight, and there's no vibrations at this speed, or any speed actually up to the legal limit. But when you go through corners like the one in front here, you hardly have to turn the wheel. It's just a tiniest little movement, pinpoint accurate, lovely weighting, never feels nervous in any single way. And it works beautifully with the chassis, because even though it gives you this comfortable ride, body control, and it is brilliant on the car, and it flows through corners absolutely superbly. So if you still enjoy your driving, and there's still a handful of us out there that do, it rewards, and it's one of the few cars that can actually do both. Worth pointing out, there's absolutely no clonks, rattles, anything from underneath the vehicle, so all as tight as a drum. And the brakes are fantastic on the car, powerful, no pulsing or vibrations at this speed, or any of the high speeds either. And then coming inside the car, what's very difficult to get across on videos is build quality. These are brilliantly put together cars. When they're new, when all cars are new, they should all be pretty well built these days. But what frustrates me, and always has done, I always say this, is when they do the road test videos, when they're brand new, they kind of laud the usual candidates, nearly always German, of course, because they are very much, there's nothing wrong with them, but they're in your face. There's dumpy doors and squidgy plastics, and that apparently is build quality. Well, it isn't actually. It's nice use of materials, but it's how they're all put together and how they last over the long term. I've been in some of the best brands from that part of the world and other parts of the world where they've been, again, said build quality is fantastic. 10 years down the line, even with sort of relatively low mileages like this, they can be kind of rattly and creaky. There's no squeaks, no rattles at all from in here. They are beautifully, beautifully built. It's also, and this is where it becomes more subjective, of course, is I think the best dashboard anywhere in its class, or probably the class above as well. I love the architecture of it. Not for everybody, but I think that's always a sign of good design. But it's not just for show, it is actually for brilliant ergonomics. The most conventional part is this centre stack here, similar to you get in lots of cars, although rather better. It's simply easy to use radio and information screen. Down below that you've got a dual zone climate control system, and that pumps out lovely ice cold air. All of the switch gear, whatever you do, whatever you press, is that kind of wonderful high quality feel that you get from Honda cars. They make everything with very satisfying feeling controls. But the best part of all, as I've always maintained, is this in front of me, this two-tier design. The upper tier is the information you're going to look at most commonly, and the one you should look at most commonly of all is your speed. And there it is, big digital white on black dial display. It's genius because I can look ahead at that car pulling out there, cyclists, pedestrians, horses, whatever happens to be, and I can see my speed at the corner of my eye without taking my eyes off the road, and it is brilliant in use. Down below that you've got a more conventional pod of dials, rev counter in the middle, flanked either side by your temperature and fuel gauges, and then finally you've got this lovely leather bound steering wheel which feels great in hand. It's in lovely condition in here. I mean, it's pretty much the perfect diesel estate, which is why they're sought after and why they're relatively dear compared to lots of their competitors. What you get though is the complete package. You get the most reliable car in its class, you get the best built over the long term, you get the most practical. It's got the biggest boot, it's got more rear space than anything else, it's got the brilliant magic rear seats which flip and fold absolutely flat, a dual level boot floor, and on top of which it's a lovely car to drive, and that's why they're sought after. But yeah, a great car. I can't fault it, by the way. There's absolutely nothing on the car to report back.